Imagine yourself turning 85. It's a quiet morning. Outside, sunlight filters gently through the window. The birds still sing. Trees continue to change with the seasons. Life goes on. But inside your heart, what's happening? Is it peace, or is it a quiet wondering? Why do I feel weaker, more fragile, even though just a few years ago I was sharp and strong? Many people believe longevity is determined by genetics, or by sheer luck. But in this video, we'll go deeper. We'll uncover 7 subtle, surprising reasons that often go unnoticed. They may be quietly stealing years, not with a loud warning, but with a gentle unraveling. These aren't just for fear or worry. They're for understanding, because when you understand, you can choose again. You can gently course correct. Stay with me through this journey. Because what you hear here isn't just for 85. It's for every day you still wake up and want your life to feel meaningful, vibrant, and your own. It's not the big goodbyes that quietly steal life after 85. It's the vanishing of the little hellos. Think about it. How many times in your life did a smile from a cashier, a friendly nod from a neighbor, or a brief chat with a stranger at the mailbox brighten your entire day? Those interactions may seem small, but they form the unseen web of connection that keeps us tethered to the world. As we age, these threads begin to loosen. We stop going to the store ourselves. We stop greeting the mailman. We stop striking up conversations in line because our hearing isn't what it used to be. We tell ourselves we're just simplifying, conserving energy. But what we're really doing is slowly withdrawing from the everyday pulse of life. There was a man I knew named Harold. He was 87 and lived alone after his wife passed. He didn't have many visitors, but he had a morning ritual, walking to the corner cafe. He didn't go for the coffee. He went for the familiar smiles. The young waitress who always called him sir. The same 3 people who sat near the window each day. He never said much, but he always showed up. And those few minutes each morning, he said, made the rest of his day feel like he still belonged. When Harold got sick and couldn't go for a few weeks, something changed. He stopped shaving, stopped calling his daughter. "I just don't feel like myself," he finally admitted. Science supports what Harold felt. These micro-social moments stimulate brain activity, reduce inflammation, and help regulate hormones. They also tell the nervous system, you are seen, you are still a part of life. When they disappear, even silently, the body responds. Isolation can act like a silent illness, dulling the senses, flattening the emotions, and quickening the aging of the brain. So what can you do? You don't need to host a party. Just be visible. Sit on your porch. Smile at the delivery person. Ask a simple question at the store, even if you already know the answer. These small sparks keep your social brain alive. It often begins with the best of intentions. Maybe you slipped once in the bathroom, or nearly lost your balance stepping off a curb. So you tell yourself, I'll be more careful. You skip the walk you used to enjoy. You sit a little longer, you move a little less, and your loved ones agree, don't overdo it. They say, just rest. But here's what almost no one tells you. When movement stops, strength follows, and not just in the legs or arms. It fades from your coordination, your balance, and your confidence. Unlike a machine that stays intact on pause, the human body needs movement to stay alive. I once knew a man named Walter. At 82, he walked a mile every evening, no matter the weather. One rainy day, he slipped, but didn't fall. Still, the scare was enough. He decided to skip that evening walk, then the next, and then more. 6 months later, his leg muscles had weakened. He found himself out of breath after climbing stairs. His doctor wasn't surprised. You didn't stop walking because you were weak, the doctor said. You became weak because you stopped walking. That's the quiet danger of overcaution. It sneaks in under the name of being safe and slowly dismantles the body's systems. Muscles shrink, core strength fades. Even your brain, wired to respond to motion and orientation, loses sharpness without physical activity. Now, of course, we're not suggesting recklessness. Risk is real. But there's a difference between being cautious and being ruled by fear. Use the handrail. Wear supportive shoes. Clear your walking path. Even use a cane if needed. But please, don't stop moving. If your knees ache, move gently. If your balance feels off, start with sitting exercises or slow walking around the house. Because movement isn't just about fitness, it's about reminding your body, I'm still here, I still belong, and your body listens. Imagine a clock, not on your wall, but within your body. This internal clock, known as your circadian rhythm, controls everything from when you feel sleepy or alert to how your immune system functions. And after age 80, it becomes increasingly sensitive to the light, or lack thereof, around you. Here's the problem. Many older adults spend most of their time indoors, away from natural sunlight. Then in the evening, their homes remain brightly lit, or they spend hours in front of a TV or phone screen. This flip in light exposure sends confusing messages to the body. The result? Trouble sleeping, daytime fatigue, and over time, worsening health. Take Mr. James, for instance. He was 85 and found himself napping on and off throughout the day. He'd wake up in the night for long stretches and feel groggy all morning. But nothing in his health report explained it, until a nurse asked about his daily routine. James rarely opened his curtains. He spent mornings in dim lighting and evenings watching TV until midnight. His internal clock had lost its anchors. Once he began sitting near a sunny window each morning and turning off screens an hour before bed, something changed. His sleep deepened, his energy returned. He said, "I finally feel like I'm in step with the world again." This isn't just anecdotal. Studies show that lack of bright light during the day and too much artificial light at night can suppress melatonin, a hormone crucial for sleep, and disrupt the timing of all sorts of biological processes. It can even increase the risk of cognitive decline. And let's not forget about vitamin D. After 80, our skin produces less of it naturally from sunlight. This nutrient supports bone strength, immunity, and even mood. Without it, fragility increases quietly. So what can we do? Open your curtains wide each morning. Sit outside for even 10 to 15 minutes if the weather allows. Replace blue-toned lights in your home with warmer bulbs in the evening. Limit screen use at night. Your brain reads light as information. Help it receive the right messages. Your body hasn't forgotten how to sleep well. It just needs the right cues to find its rhythm again. Have your sleep patterns changed as you've gotten older? What small adjustments might you make to help your body feel more in sync? Share your thoughts. We'd love to learn from your experience. By the time we reach our 80s, we've likely said goodbye to more people than we ever thought possible. A spouse, a sibling, a dear friend, sometimes even a child. And while the world may offer its polite condolences, what's often unspoken is how these losses quietly pile up, not just in memory, but in the body. What often sets in is not only grief, but suppression. A gentle, quiet habit of swallowing pain rather than expressing it. Putting on a brave face because we think we should be used to it by now, or because we feel there's no one left who truly understands what that person meant to us. But here's what's important to know. The body doesn't forget. When sorrow is unprocessed, when it's not spoken, not shared, not fully felt, it doesn't fade. It stores. It hides in our breath, our posture, our digestion, our immune system. It silently keeps our nervous system in a state of constant, subtle stress. You may look calm, you may say you're fine, but if your shoulders feel heavier than they used to, if your breath is shorter, if you don't feel quite like yourself anymore, grief might be the reason, even if you haven't talked about it in years. I once knew a woman named Eleanor. She lost her husband after 58 years of marriage. She rarely cried, said it wasn't her way. But in the months after, her appetite dwindled. She stopped going to the quilting group she loved. Her sleep became shallow. Her doctor found no medical reason, but her heart was still in mourning, even if she never said the words. Emotional pain doesn't have to be overwhelming to be harmful. And when it surfaces in our health, the connection isn't always obvious. But what helps people thrive past 85 isn't just physical strength. It's emotional openness. It's having safe spaces for sorrow, for fear, for longing. It's being able to say, "I miss him," or "I'm still angry," or "I feel lonely," and not be judged for it. That release, that breath of honesty, is what allows the heart to breathe again. And when the heart can breathe, the body can begin to heal. The people who live longest often have some form of emotional outlet. Maybe it's a trusted friend, maybe a notebook, a faith community, a grief support group, or even a quiet walk where they can speak to the sky. No matter what it looks like, the principle is the same. What is expressed can be transformed. What is buried festers. It doesn't always start with something dramatic. Sometimes it begins with the slow fading of morning routines. The crossword puzzle stays unfinished, the bird feeder isn't refilled, the garden sits untouched, and before you know it, the day has arrived. And you're unsure why it matters. Many older adults, even those surrounded by comfort and safety, experience something they can't always name. A lack of purpose. Not the grand philosophical kind, but the kind that says, "This morning, I matter. I have something to tend to, someone to care for, something small but important to do." After 85, people don't fade because they're weak. They fade because they stop being called into their own day. Let me tell you about Ruth. She was 88 when I met her. She didn't have much family nearby, and her health was modest, but her days were full. Every Monday, she wrote postcards to homeless veterans through a program at her church. Every Thursday, she cooked soup and froze portions to drop off at a nearby shelter. And every afternoon at 4 o'clock sharp, she sat by the front window to watch the neighborhood children walk home from school. She knew their names. She waved. They waved back. "They don't need me," she said, "but I love showing them someone's here, watching out for them." That's the secret. Purpose doesn't need to be grand. It needs to be real, tangible, rooted in rhythm. Too many people lose this rhythm when a group disbands, when mobility becomes limited, when roles once central to life, caregiver, mentor, host, are no longer needed in the same way. The world doesn't mean to stop needing you, but it can feel like it does. And without daily purpose, systems inside your body slow. Appetite fades, sleep weakens, movement dulls. Because the body listens to the mind, and when the mind doesn't see a reason to rise, the body doesn't rise either. But here's the hopeful truth. Purpose can be rekindled, even quietly. It can be found in the smallest acts: watering a plant every morning, writing down a memory for your grandchild, calling a neighbor just to ask how they're doing, even folding laundry while humming a favorite song. Your purpose doesn't need applause, it only needs presence. And the beauty is, it's never too late to begin again. One small reason, one gentle task, one moment of care each day is enough to restart the engine. It's not about eating too much or too little. It's about what silently disappears from the plate. After 80, many seniors begin eating less, not just from smaller appetites, but from loneliness, fatigue, or changes in taste. They skip meals, rely on snacks, or eat out of convenience. And slowly, essential nutrients like protein, fiber, calcium, omega-3s slip away unnoticed. What fills the gap? Sometimes tea and toast, a cookie with coffee, cereal for dinner. It's not that these choices are bad, but they're often not enough. Over time, the body's reserves run low. I once spoke to a woman named Dolores. She was 86 and living on her own. Her fridge was nearly empty. "I just don't have the energy to cook like I used to," she said. "And what's the point of making a meal for one?" Her nails had become brittle. She bruised easily. She started feeling more tired, even though she was resting more. It wasn't illness, it was quiet depletion. Malnutrition in older adults is often invisible. It doesn't come with big alarms, but it shows up in slower healing, weaker muscles, fuzzy memory, and more frequent illnesses. And perhaps most quietly, it steals joy. Food is more than fuel. It's comfort, it's connection, it's tradition and memory and celebration. So how can we gently shift this? Small, intentional meals. Keep hard-boiled eggs, Greek yogurt, canned beans, frozen vegetables, nuts, and fruit on hand. Prepare small portions in advance. Join a community meal or invite a neighbor over. Even one shared lunch a week can rekindle the pleasure of food. Hydration, too, is crucial. Many older adults avoid drinking water for fear of frequent trips to the restroom. But dehydration creeps in, affecting energy, focus, and even blood pressure. Your body is still worthy of nourishment. It still deserves care. Have you noticed your own eating habits changing with age? What meals or snacks bring you comfort and strength? Share your ideas in the comments. Your tip might help someone else feel better too. After 85, one of the quietest but most powerful shifts is the soft retreat of mental engagement. Not because the mind is failing, but because it's not being invited to participate in life anymore. It starts subtly. You stop reading the newspaper because the print is small. You skip the crossword puzzle because it feels too hard today. You no longer join family conversations because the topic moves too fast. And slowly the mind, a once eager dancer, begins to sit out more and more. But the brain, like a muscle, lives through activity. through curiosity, through connection. It doesn't need a PhD or complicated equations. It simply needs to be included. There's a gentleman I met once named Ernest. He was 89 and lived in a care home. His daughter noticed he had become increasingly withdrawn. "He just stares at the wall," she said. "He used to be so sharp." I asked her what his routine looked like. "Not much. Meals, naps, TV." So we tried something small. We gave him a simple photo album. Nothing fancy, just old family photos. And each day a caregiver would ask him to tell a story about one picture. At first it was only a few sentences, but over time those stories became full conversations. He laughed, he remembered, and slowly, the light came back. Cognitive decline doesn't always stem from disease. Often it's disuse. The mind becomes foggy when it's not asked to think, speak, recall, or imagine. So how can you stimulate your mind gently and joyfully after 85? Read out loud to yourself, even a paragraph a day. Try a puzzle that suits your mood, crosswords, jigsaw, or word searches. Watch a documentary and jot down one thing you learned. Share memories with your grandchildren. Let them hear your voice shape the past. Write a few sentences each morning about what you notice or dreamt or remember. The brain doesn't need grand challenges. It needs loving invitations to reflect, to respond, to be needed. Because when your thoughts are welcomed, your spirit feels included in the world. So now we've walked through the 7 silent reasons many people don't thrive past 85. None of them are about sudden illness. They're not about random bad luck. They're quiet, often invisible shifts that happen slowly until one day, something inside just stops trying. But here's the truth. The same way these reasons drift in silently, we can gently, lovingly begin to reverse them. Not through grand changes, but through soft attention. One step, one connection, one small joy at a time. I want to leave you with a story. There's a woman named Joan. She's 90 now, a retired librarian who lost her husband at 82 and spent a year feeling like she was fading too. But then one morning she told herself, if I'm still breathing, I'm still needed. So she started small. She signed up to read stories at the local elementary school once a week. She began keeping a gratitude journal by her bedside, just writing down 3 things each night, and she joined a walking group, even though she could only go half a mile. And something shifted. It wasn't the walking, she said. It was the feeling that I still had something to offer, that I was still part of the story. Longevity isn't just about the years we live. It's about how deeply we stay connected to people, to meaning, to movement, to memory, to ourselves. So today, I invite you to choose one small thing, just one, that makes you feel alive. Maybe it's opening your curtains in the morning and letting the light in. Maybe it's calling someone you've been thinking about. Maybe it's journaling, or stretching, or just sitting outside for a while and noticing the world. Whatever it is, let it be your way of saying to life, I'm still here. Which part of today's video resonated most with you? What quiet change are you thinking about making in your life? Share it in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. If this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell icon so you won't miss our next video. Your support helps us keep creating thoughtful, healing content for beautiful souls like you. Thank you for spending this time with us. May your days ahead be filled with gentleness, connection, and renewed meaning. Until next time, take good care of yourself.